Dear learners, welcome to my channel. In the last video, we have seen what is production function, what is production function, and what are the different concepts of production. Hope that these concepts are clear to you. In this video, I will be saying what is short-run production function. Before getting into the short-run production function, just a gist I would like to give you, that is how we are going to study the changes in production during short run as well as during long run. During short run, it is known as returns to a factor, and during long run, it is known as returns to scale. During short run, there we have fixed factors as well as variable factors, but during long run, there is no space for fixed factor. All the factors become variable. It means what? During long run, the producer is having enough time, enough resources that no variable, no factor is variable during long run. During short run, the resources, time, everything is very limited, and the producer has to plan accordingly. So during short period, in order to increase the production, the producer is having two different options. As we have seen in the last video, the first option is to increase the variable factor in order to increase the production, and the second option is to improve the technique of production. We will keep the technique of production constant. We will work on increasing the production by increasing the variable factor. Let us move on to the first head, known as short run production function. In this video, we will be seeing only short run production function. Short run production function, otherwise returns to a factor or law of returns. When a firm changes its production, keeping a factor of production variable and other factors of production fixed during short period, this operation is known as short run production function. During short period, what happens? During short period, there is fixed factor as well as variable factor. In our example, we are going to keep one factor as fixed and one factor as variable. Fixed factor during short period we cannot touch, but in order to increase the production, we have to increase the variable factor so that we can increase the production. And such kind of production function is known as law of returns. Yeah. Otherwise, it is known as returns to a factor. When the input of one factor is increasing while all other factors remain constant, then this proportion between the factors altered. What happens? As I've told you, we have two factors, land and labor. For example, take land and labor. Land is our fixed factor and labor is our variable factor. Land is our fixed factor and labor is our variable factor. Suppose you have a land measuring 2 hectares of land. For example, you are having 2 hectares of land, 2 hectares of land, and you grow some kind of some potato, tomato, whatever it is on it, and with the help of one laborer. For example, 2 hectares of land was available to the one labor earlier in the initial stage. What happened? The ratio between the land and the labor, or land and the labor, is 1:2. Land and the labor is 1:2. Sorry, labor and land is 1:2. On one piece of land, one labor is employed. One piece of land, one labor is employed. The quantity of land is 2 hectares. The 2 hectares of land, one labor is employed. So therefore, if the number of labor is going on increasing, what will happen? If one more labor is employed, 2:2, one more labor is employed, 3:2. So this proportion changes, and when there is a change in this proportion of the inputs of land as well as of fixed factor as well as variable factor, you can see the change in the total output too. You can see the change in the total output too. Previously, when the land was available to only one labor, that particular one labor was giving some production. Now what happened? One more labor you are employing, you can see one more labor you are employing. So what happens? The proportion becomes 2:2. Previously, the 2 hectare land was available to one labor. Now this 2 hectare land is available to two laborers, which means that 1 hectare each laborers, 1 hectares each laborers. Because of this, what happens when you are going on increasing the laborer on a given piece of land? In the beginning, the total output, it is increasing, and you can see that the total output is increasing at different rate. In the beginning, when you are employing more one by one, when you are increasing in the initial time, what happens? The total output is increasing at the increasing rate. Then a stage comes when there is a ideal ratio between the fixed factor and variable factor. At that time, you can see it is increasing at a constant rate, and a stage comes when, as a matter of law, what happened? The total output is increasing only at a diminishing rate. This tells you that the proportion between fixed factor and variable factor got disturbed. Thus, returns to a factor, it is out of three types. Let us see what are the three types. Increasing returns to a factor, constant returns to a factor, and diminishing returns to a factor. Let us see what do you mean by increasing returns to a factor. Increasing returns to a factor, otherwise known as law of increasing returns. As I've told you, when the land in the beginning, when that 2-hectare land was available to one labor, he was able to give some production. When one more labor you are employing, what happened? The total production is increasing in the increasing rate, particularly because that particular piece of land, it was underutilized, and when you are making good utilization of that particular land, in the beginning it is giving you good production. Good production it is giving you. So in the beginning, law of increasing returns tells you about the situation when the total output, it is increasing at the increasing rate. Total output, and in the beginning it is increasing at the increasing rate when you are employing more variable factor on a given piece of land. So therefore you can see that in this situation, the marginal production of the variable factor, the marginal production, you can see in that table which I have shown you earlier in the last video. In this video also you can see that the marginal production is showing an increasing tendency, which means that the marginal production of the variable factor, it is increasing. When it is increasing, it means the total production is increasing at increasing rate. Yeah, otherwise we can say the marginal cost of production, it is declining. Yeah, this is the table of increasing returns to a factor, where you can see the units of land. Units of land is 1. Sorry, in the example I have given you 2. I have written 1. Okay, no problem. 1 unit of land, and you are increasing the units of labor. Labor is your variable factor and land is your fixed factor. So you can see that the total production is increasing 4, 10, 18, 28. Likewise, the total production is increasing 4, 10, 18, 28. How it is increasing? 4 plus 6, 6 plus 8, 8 plus 10, 10 plus 12, 12 plus 14, 14 plus 16. Likewise, you can make out, and this values you can put on the basis of marginal production. 4, 6, 8, 10. When this marginal production is showing an increasing tendency, when it is showing an increasing tendency, it is known as increasing returns to a factor. Moving to the next one, you can see the diagram of increasing returns to a factor, how the total production is increasing, how the total production is showing an increasing trend, it is increasing, and the marginal production is also showing an increasing trend, which indicates that in the beginning, when the particular fixed factor was underutilized, when you are employing more units of variable factor on a given piece of land, what happens? It shows the total production is increasing at the increasing rate. Let us see what are the causes of increasing returns to a factor. The first cause why the increasing returns to a factor operates, the first reason being indivisibility of inputs. Indivisibility of inputs. Some factors of predictions are indivisible. Generally, you can see that indivisibility of inputs. Some of the factors of prediction which we are using is generally indivisible. We cannot buy, for example, we cannot buy a particular machine for stitching one cloth. Stitching one cloth. For example, a tailoring machine. It cannot be bought in order to stitch one or two cloths. It's not possible for us. So therefore, when we need to go for buying such kind of factors, generally when you are doing it in lump sum, it will give you more production. When you are increasing the production, what will happen? The cost per unit will come down. That is why in the beginning what happened, it is increasing. The next one is underutilization of fixed factors. In the initial stage, fixed factor, for example, machine, it was underutilized. Its fuller utilization when it is possible, when you are using it to the optimum capacity. So when it was underutilized, and when you are putting that particular factor, fixed factor, into utilization, basically it will give you more production, and the total output will increase at the increasing rate. Third point is increased efficiency of the variable factor. Basically, when one single labor was working on a given piece of land, and when one more labor is being employed, automatically what they both can do, there will be better cooperation, coordination, division of work, and automatically they will have a sense of satisfaction, which helps in increasing their efficiency, and they can do the work better, resulting in higher productivity. Next one is better coordination between the factors. So long as fixed factors remain underutilized, additional application of variable factor tends to improve the degree of coordination between the fixed and variable factor, due to which what happened, the total output increases at increasing rate. Cooperation, coordination, division, everything improves, and automatically what happened, the total output, total production increases at increasing rate. Next one is constant returns to a factor. Constant returns to a factor means what? It no more result in increasing returns. In case if you are combining more units of variable factor with the fixed factor, this total output is increasing at a constant rate. Total output is increasing at a constant rate, which means that marginal production of the factor tends to stabilize. Marginal production tends to stabilize. You can see this is the table wherein the marginal production is stabilizing. Total production is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. This is particularly when we are seeing it separately, you can have this figure, but when we are seeing all together, this constant returns to a factor you cannot see, because it is for a particular ratio, and that particular ratio is known as the ideal ratio between the fixed factor and the variable factor. Let us see, this is the diagram. The total production is increasing and the marginal production is stabilizes. MP, this curve MP is hidden inside. So this is your marginal production. This line is your marginal production. This is your marginal production. Okay. Let us see what are the causes of constant returns to a factor. The first cause is what? Why there is no more increase in total output in increasing rate? Because this ratio, the constant returns to a factor, there is a ratio between the fixed factor and the variable factor, and this particular factor is an ideal ratio. Beyond this ratio, if you go, automatically it will be overutilization of that particular fixed factor. Once it is overutilization, means this is a point where we have to stop making production, increasing the production by increasing the variable factor. Instead, we have to go for increasing the fixed factor. Optimum utilization of fixed factor. Ideal factor ratio, as I have already mentioned, ideal factor ratio, constant returns to a factor. It shows the ideal factor ratio between the fixed factor as the variable factor. In case if this gets disturbed, now you have to think about not substituting the fixed factor with the variable factor. You have to go for increasing the fixed factor instead. Most efficient utilization of variable factor. As more and more units of the variable factor is combined with the fixed factor, a stage comes when there is best possible division of labor corresponding to which variable factor is most efficiently utilized. So you can see that in this case the marginal production, it tends to be constant, or it tends to be stabilizes. Next one is diminishing returns to a factor, or law of diminishing returns. Diminishing returns to a factor, it is that situation where you can see that the total production, it tends to increase at diminishing rate when more of the variable factor is combined with the fixed factors of production. In this situation, what happened, the marginal production of the variable factor, it shows a declining trend, which we can see with the help of a formula. You can see that 5, 3, 2, 1, 0, minus 1. So it shows a declining trend. You see total production is increasing 5, 8, 10, but it is increasing at a decreasing rate. You can see that how it is increasing at a decreasing rate, how you can come to know marginal production is 5, 3, 2, 1. 5 plus 3, 8, 8 plus 2, 10, 2 plus 1, 11, 11 plus 0, 11, minus 1 is 10, likewise. So you can see that this table shows that when more and more units of variable factor is combined with the fixed factor, the total production is increasing at a declining rate. You can see here that the total production is increasing, then it becomes maximum, then it starts declining. Likewise, the marginal production is falling downwards, crossing the OX horizontal axis known as OX axis, touching the OX axis and crossing, going beyond that axis. So the point where it touches is becomes 0, and after that it becomes negative. So from this diagram you can see that marginal production can be positive, 0 or negative. Let us see what are the causes of diminishing returns to a factor. Fixity of factors. It means what? The diminishing returns starts operating because of the fixed factor. Now it is a time to increase the fixed factor. We cannot substitute the variable factor with the fixed factor. In case if you need more increase in the production, it's the right time that we should think of changing the fixed factor instead of increasing the fixed factor instead of increasing the variable factor. Imperfect factor substitutability. The same thing it tells you about that factors of production are imperfect substitutes of each other. Land is not labor is not a substitute for land. Now it's the time that we need to get a new land, additional land we need to get, and in that additional land we can employ more number of variable factors. The coordination among these factors, fixed factor and variable factor, also get disturbed, because of which what happened, the total production is increasing at a declining rate. Let us see what do you mean by law of variable proportion. The thing which we have seen now, increasing, constant and diminishing, all these three we are going to see in case of law of variable proportion. Law of variable proportion says the same thing as we have already seen, that we are having two different factors, one is fixed factor and variable factor. We have fixed factor as land, variable factor as labor. Law of variable proportion, what does this state? Law of variable proportion says that when more and more units of variable factor is combined with a fixed factor, the total output at first increases more than proportionately, at first increases at the increasing rate, then proportionately constant rate, then less than proportionately. It means diminishing rate. This is what law of variable proportion says. When we are combining these three, increasing, constant and diminishing rate together, it is coming under law of variable proportions. This all we have already seen, the same thing. This is the definition which I have told you now. Assumptions. As far as these laws are concerned, we need to make these laws practically applicable when these assumptions are strictly followed. Let us see what are the assumptions. We should assume that the production is not fixed proportionate type. If the production is fixed, we cannot talk about increasing the production. Production is not fixed, it is variable proportion, so that the output can be increased by increasing more and more units of variable factors, when we can combine more variable factor with the fixed factor. Second is, units of variable factors are homogeneous. As we have already seen that we are having variable factor as labor, and we are assuming that each unit of labors are equally efficient. It doesn't mean that because of the inefficiency of the second labor we are getting less productivity, less production. Third point, some of the factors are fixed so that output can be increased by increasing only the variable factor. This is a very important assumption as far as short-term production is concerned. State of technology, we are not going to touch the state of technology, it will be as it is, we are not going to change it. It is a very crucial assumption of this law of variable proportion, and in case if the state of technology improves, automatically we cannot talk about law of variable proportion. So we need to keep the technology constant. There is no changes in the technology, no improvement in the technology. Explanation of the law, the same table which I have shown you there. You can see these are the units of labor, this is the unit of land. For example, 1 hectare land you are having, labors you are going on increasing one by one. I have taken first labor till the 8th labor I have employed on a given piece of land. The total production 2, 5, 9, 12, the same table which we have seen earlier. Marginal production is 2, 3, 4. You can see that the marginal production at first is increasing 2, 3, 4, then 3, 2, 1, then 0, -1, which means that the marginal production, total production at first is increasing at the increasing rate, then it starts diminishing at a increasing at a diminishing rate, which results in marginal production turning, when the total production is maximum 15, when the total production is maximum, we can see the marginal production is 0. When the total production starts declining, the marginal production turns negative. This is all the whole same thing. There are 3 stages of production. You can see what are the 3 stages. The first stage is the first stage is total production, marginal production, average production. Also you have to make a note of it. You can see the total production is increasing. When the marginal production is increasing, average production is also increasing, and you can notice that when marginal production is increasing, marginal production is above the average production. In all the cases you can see 3 is more than 2.5, 4 is more than 2, 3, 3 is both same. When marginal production increases, average production increases, but you can see one more thing, that marginal production starts falling before the average production. Average production highest value is 3, which is in the 4th unit of the labor, and marginal production's highest unit is 3, which is at the 3 unit of labor. So when the marginal production increases, average production also increases, and when marginal production starts falling, it becomes equal to average production. So at this point is the end of the first stage. The second stage starts when the marginal production is declining, average production is also declining, and marginal production turns negative. Total production is maximum and average production, marginal production turns negative. At that point, it is the end of the second stage. And the third stage is when marginal production turns negative and total production starts declining. So three different stages you have seen. The first stage is the total production is increasing, marginal production is increasing, subsequently it fall and become equal to average production. This is the point of the end of the first stage. Second stage is where the marginal production is declining and it turns zero and the total production is maximum. Third stage is when the marginal production starts falling and total production starts falling and marginal production turns negative. These are the things which I have already told you now. First stage, second stage and third stage. This is the diagram. You can see that at point E, the marginal production is 0, and after that you can see it is negative, and at point G point you can see G point, this is your G point, the marginal production is MP. G means G is the maximum point of total production, it is the maximum production, and when the total production was maximum, that is 15, which we have seen in the table, at that time the marginal production was 0, and when it fall down to 14, the marginal production turns negative. You can see in both the cases when marginal production, you can see when marginal production is increasing, average production also increases. When marginal production is increasing, average production also increases. For example, I am drawing this. This is marginal production, this is average production. Marginal production, average production. You can see that in both the cases, the marginal production is above the average production. When it is increasing, you can see frequency is more in the marginal production. Likewise, when it is falling, marginal production comes down, average production goes up. The three different stages I have elaborately explained. You just go through it. Relationship between average production and marginal production. The same thing I have told, where the average production increases when marginal production is greater than average production. We have seen that average production starts increasing, at that time marginal production was falling. Likewise, you can see average production decreases when MP is less than AP. So I have already told that when marginal production increases, average production also increases. When marginal production decreases, average production also decreases. But the frequency in both the cases are more in case of marginal production. When it is increasing, marginal production will be above the average production. When it is declining, marginal production will be below the average production. Let us see what are the causes of application of law of variable proportion. First one is indivisibility of factors. The same factors which you have seen there. Indivisibility of factors. Factors cannot be divided on the basis of our requirement. So we are buying the factors. So we need, when we are employing more number of variable factor on that fixed factor, automatically you are getting more return. Fixed factors of production. The main cause of operation of second stage. The second stage, why it starts operating, why it is increasing at a declining rate. The main reason is what? Some factors of production are fixed. We are only increasing the variable factor. Optimum production, after making the optimum use of the fixed factor, if it is combined with increasing units of variable factor, what will happen? The marginal return to such variable factor, it begins to fall. You can see that the marginal production was declining. So therefore, after the optimum usage, what happens? The ratio between fixed factor and variable factor, the ideal ratio between fixed factor and variable factor disturbs, and the ratio becomes defective. Imperfect substitutes. Already we have seen that the fixed factor is variable factor is not a substitute of fixed factor. Now it is a time to increase the fixed factor, not the variable factor. Hope you are clear with the short run production function. Thank you. In the next video, we will be seeing long run production function.